Hello people, back again, and I haven't made a video for about 2 weeks, not like anyone's actually really going to care, but still, I do like making movies as regular as I humanly can, but I just haven't really had much to talk about, but today I'm going to talk about the movie Five Nights at Freddy's. Yes, okay, so I've been really looking forward to watching this movie, and I've spent the last year looking forward for this movie to actually come out. Since I heard it was in development, I've always been in excitement, ready to watch this movie. Simply because I'm a huge fan of the game series. Now I haven't played all of the games. I've only played probably Five Nights at Freddy's 1, 2, 3, and Sister Location. I haven't played any of the other spin-offs. But the other games, in my opinion, all of them so far, the ones which I have played anyway, have all been absolutely fantastic. Why? I love these games simply because I always like to support indie developers. So when people actually go out of their way to create a masterpiece, and they're actually like underdogs in the creation where they don't actually have a massive backing team like Bethesda or Ubisoft or anything like that. I actually admire people that create games just because of their love of gaming. And Five Nights at Freddy's kind of did that because the game wasn't in depth. Especially, I'm mainly talking about the first one, but because the first one kind of ties more into the movie. But Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2 definitely did this, where you're a security guard and you have these absolutely fucking creepy animatronics trying to murder you. By murder you, they didn't actually explain this in the film, but what the animatronics are actually trying to do is they're programmed to actually catch anyone moving, because they're programmed to obviously they do have the ghost inside them, yes, but what they're trying to do is when they kill people is if there's a rogue animatronic walking around not in their suit, they're designed to pick up the animatronic that isn't in the suit and forcibly put them inside the suit. That's where the spring locks kick in and like all the saw implementations in the mask cut their faces to pieces, X, Y, and Z. So that's how they're actually killing people. I know in the film, Freddy killed the girl Max by biting her in half, which was kind of good. But yeah, so I really enjoyed the games, and I've really enjoyed obviously the first one. It was something I wouldn't say it was something different, but it was really something which we haven't seen for a long time. Because most horror games they're mainly like survival horror games, whereas Five Nights at Freddy's was actually just a pure jump scare. And unless you are a desensitized psychopath, everyone's going to be scared of jump scares because that's what they are. They're jump scares. They jump out and scare the hell out of you. Now, I wouldn't let my grandparents play the game Five Nights at Freddy's because it would guarantee give both of them a heart attack at the same time. And it almost gave me a heart attack at the same time when I first played the game back in 2014. So the game's been out for nearly, whoa, the series has been going for 9 years, but let's just round it up to 10 simply because we're right at the end of 2023. So yeah, the game's fantastic, and they've actually got a huge cult following. Now it's actually a really good, a good point to bring up because if a game series that's only been around very short, like 10 years, and they've already got a massive cult following, that's actually a fantastic direction for a game to go in. Because it's like with some movies, I don't have any top of my head to actually think about. Okay, The Big Lebowski, for example, that's just an example. It's got a cult following, but that film's been out for well over 20 years. So for a game series to have only been going just shy of 10 years to have a massive cult following around the world, that is actually like something to be impressed by. You've actually laid your foundation in the world of gaming if you can do that. And the thing is, the game is that simple and straightforward. Anyone can play it. You don't actually need to be a gamer to play Five Nights at Freddy's. You just don't need to. Anyone can do it. It's something anyone can pick up. All you do is look at the CCTV, and you've just got to watch your power gauge to make sure you can open and shut the doors without getting killed, and you're always going to get a jump scare. So obviously in the games you've got night 1 to 5. Yeah, of course you've got 1 to 5. It's Five Nights at Freddy's. Okay. So obviously each level gets different, and I believe when you get to night 3, is it, where Funtime Foxy comes out, and that gave me the biggest scare of my life. Where you look at the CCTV and you see the fox running. Now I was lucky the first time; I actually managed to shut the fucking door before the fox came. But obviously, night 4, I wasn't that lucky because I was too busy looking at Chica, and then Funtime Foxy ran, and I didn't have time to shut the door, and it came out and went did his scream thing, scary as fuck. You look at the CCTV and then you don't look at it, and then you get a jump scare straight in front of you. Absolutely horrifyingly scary. And obviously, there's going to be some people out there which are going to be like, well, it's not that scary. Well, it's a bit shit. Well, blah, 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 blah. Excuses. Okay, the game's good. Stop. You can't say the game isn't good because it's a game which non-gamers can play and still enjoy, and they can get out of the game what they are, going to get, what regular gamers are going to get. So you're always going to get a jump scare. Fair enough. Yeah, some people say, "Oh, they're not that scary." That ain't the point. There's still jump scares. It takes you by surprise, and it still does take an element of technique to, actually play this game to actually survive these nights because it gets absolutely fucking ridiculous. Okay, same. And I am actually a former security guard. I was a security guard 10 years ago, so I can actually kind of relate to this game because when I was like working in a factory as a security guard overnight, and nobody's there. It's like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. It's dark. All the lights are off, and you have to like just sit there watching the building. You actually do go a little bit crazy because 9 times out of 10 the shifts are like 12 hours, if not more. So if you're in a house, for example, if you're sleeping and your house starts making weird noises you've never heard before when the lights are off and everything's dark, think about that when you're stuck in a building, locked in, and you're supposed to be guarding the perimeter and you just hear random noises in a factory and you have to investigate it in the dark with a torch. Now, you get some hard nut security guards out there which are like, oh, don't scare me. But it does play on your mind, and it does actually. You're in a position where you're like, oh fuck, I've got to check that out now. What the fuck is it going to be? So you never know. I once worked security at a quarry, and I saw a deer, and I mean that was a jump scare in itself. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, as a security guard like Mike Schmidt is in Five Nights at Freddy's, I can kind of relate to how fucked up this situation can get. But it's even worse for Mike in the games because these threats are actually fucking real. Okay? Now, I'm going to get onto the movie now because I've spent 7 minutes talking about the games. The movie, in my opinion, it was okay. I'm not going to say it was terrible, but it was okay. But the movie wasn't that good. It did not live up to my expectations. Why? Because I didn't find it that scary. I wasn't scared of the animatronics. The opening were good, where it captures the first security guard, shoves him inside, the chair, and they're gonna forcibly put him into an animatronic. That was scary. It had potential, and then it got good, and then obviously you're introduced to the characters, of course, and then as the game plays on, this is where things took a turn for the worse for me. You hear Mike's sister, I'm about to say daughter, then sister starts screaming. Then I'm like, holy shit's going down. And then all of a sudden, she's playing with the animatronic. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then they're singing, they're fucking dancing. And then there's a part where they're led on the fucking floor, gazing up at the camera when it's supposed to be the ceiling, and they're all fucking friends. That isn't scary. So why did they do that? That is not scary. You've just literally took a scary film and made it not scary. There were no direction. And by direction, I mean, you're either gonna make a horror film or you're not gonna make a horror film. You can't do a bit of one and a bit of the other, then put it together and hope it fucking works. It doesn't work like that. The game should have been, the film, it should have been an age 18 fucking jump scare, which is supposed to have us all shitting ourselves. It should have been that scary that they tried fucking banning it in England. It was that scary. But no, they didn't. I feel as though they tried to cater to two different audiences. I feel as though they wanted to give us some scary shit, but they wanted to have it where it's good enough for teenagers to watch. By teenagers, I mean young teenagers, like from the age of, I don't know, 15 to 16 to 17. You know, you would just, what? You can't do that, because we all know, us gamers which have played this game, we all wanted to see an absolutely terrifying film. We didn't get that. Don't get me wrong, there was a lot of nostalgia in there. I loved seeing the set of Five Nights at Freddy's because it brought me back to when I first played the game, and I was like, yes, here we go. You know what I mean? I enjoyed all that. That was good. But then I saw it. This isn't my quote. I saw it in Wikipedia, and someone said that animatronics were just as scary as Barney the Purple Dinosaur. And that's correct. And on top of that, this isn't a big thing, but they did actually kind of tweak the story a bit, because non-gamers, they won't know this, But actually, Mike Schmidt, his background and his actual overall story in the movies is a load of shit. It's fabricated bollocks simply because that isn't his story in the game. Mike Schmidt is just a security guard that enjoys eating pizza on shift. That's all he is. And obviously, he did descend into madness by seeing the horrors at Five Nights at Freddy's because the game was clearly more scary than the movie. And what is it? Matthew Lillard's character, you know, the serial killer. Uh, he was in the game lore. Mike Schmidt was his younger son, you know. And so obviously they didn't do that in the film. They had Vanessa as his daughter. But don't get me wrong, the best part about the film was Matthew Lillard's character. He wasn't in the film that long. He wasn't into the film that long, but he made an impression. So if he wasn't in the film, I get the feeling as though the film would have been kind of shit. And it's actually kind of interesting to see Shaggy of Scooby Doo playing a serial killer hell bent on killing. You know, that's kind of interesting. Now, obviously, the storyline was correct because Matthew Lillard's character did, in the game lore, kidnap the kids and stick their bodies in the animatronics because that's how Freddy Fazbear's was closed because one of the just Funtime Foxy actually bit a child, but then they did find that the animatronics were kind of oozing because the bodies was actually inside the kids. So the ghost story part, that is actually kind of accurate. Maybe not 100% accurate, but that is kind of where we're going. But Mike Schmidt's overall background is fabricated bullshit that never actually happened. So what can I say about the film? It actually wasn't that good. If you're a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, maybe you might like it because of the nostalgia, like I did. But then you've got to wake up and think, was that the film we really wanted to see? And it turns out it really wasn't. Now, I actually believe because it was a box office hit, they will release a new Five Nights at Freddy's film. But that's only because people enjoy Five Nights at Freddy's. People enjoy the games. That's the only reason they'll bring another film out because it will pay out. But in my honest opinion, they need to do things a little bit better. But I don't think they will because I feel as though they were trying to cater for two kinds of audiences and hoping to God it would actually work when it actually didn't work. Uh, yeah, there were no jump scares. I mean, it's like I don't know. And to be honest, it took it away from me because they were quite easy to like not kill, but to stun. Just shoot them with your taser. Fucks with the electronics. They're dead. Well, not dead, but you know they're incapacitated. And it's like really, you know, in the games these are absolutely hulking strong animatronics, which are scary as fuck. Now we didn't get that, and they weren't that scary. And yeah, the game took a sorry, the film keeps saying the game. The film just took a turn for the worse, as if it were trying to cater for something that it shouldn't have actually catered for. The game should have been an age 18 film, full of jump scares. I should still be shitting myself now from last night because of how you know horrendously scary that film were. But it wasn't scary. It wasn't scary. It was I mean, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy the film. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's a bad film. What I'm trying to say is, if you're a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, I can't see you really enjoying the film too much. You'll like it for the reasons I liked it, because the nostalgia of playing the game when it first came out, and it did something different. Well, not some. Yeah, it did do something a little bit different. Jump scares have always been there. They were always there when the first Resident Evil came out, where the dog jumped through the window, or when Nemesis is chasing you. Yeah, that is a jump scare game, but this is a basic jump scare game, which, like I said before, non-gamers can actually play. So the games are good, and the good thing about the film is people that did actually enjoy the film, they're gonna start playing the games now. So at least we're gonna get a new audience, a new crowd of people that are gonna play the Five Nights at Freddy's games, and the game series is probably gonna be more alive than ever due to this film. But that doesn't make this film a good film. It was okay. Has it done good for the franchise? I'm going to say yeah, because it's done fantastic. This film will have made the franchise a lot better. People will be more interested in the franchise now, as well as playing the games now. So the games will live on, you know. So there's some good things I've listed, some bad things I've listed. But overall, you know, it's just a bog standard basic review. Comparing the games to the movie. These are only short reviews, people, and they're not scripted. I don't do anything else. I just talk on the camera. These are the screen rants, okay? Right, I'm gonna get off now. We're just literally hitting the 15-minute mark, and there's not really much I can really talk about, to be honest. But yeah, see you later, people, and just watch the film. You can watch the film. You can obviously go to the cinema and watch it, or it's on streaming services such as Prime. But it does cost £15 to rent. I'm just saying, I wouldn't pay £15 to watch this film. I watched it because it was someone got it for me. Basically, I'm not too sure how. They just I would just have to watch the film, so they got it for me, and that's how I saw it. I didn't pirate it. I don't know how they got it. Not to get myself in trouble by the police, but no, I don't know how I got it. How they got it. Anyway, so yeah, I saw the film. It's okay, worth £15 to watch at home if you have the cash. Why not? Fuck it. If you really like the game series, pay and watch it if you want. You only need to take my reviews for a pinch of salt. These are just my opinions. Like you'll have your own. But anyway, I'm gonna get off now. Awesome 50 out.